10 years is a long time to hold onto anger, but some betrayals cut too deep to forget. I'm Rebecca Turner, and until 3 months ago, I hadn't spoken to my sister Amanda since that night in 2014 when she helped destroy my life. I built a new existence for myself in Seattle, far from our hometown of Charleston. My interior design business was thriving. I had real friends who didn't know my past, and I finally stopped flinching every time I saw a wedding announcement. Then the email arrived. "Dearest Becca," it began, using the nickname I hadn't heard in a decade. "I'm getting married. I know we haven't talked in too long. But you're my only sister, and I can't imagine my special day without you as my maid of honor. Please say yes. Love, Mandy." I stared at those words until they blurred, memories flooding back like a broken dam. The last time I'd been asked to be a maid of honor, it was for my best friend Charlotte's wedding. The night I discovered my fiancé Nathan in the bridal suite with my sister. The night that ended with destroyed friendships, a canceled engagement, and me fleeing Charleston with nothing but a suitcase and a shattered heart. "Delete it," my roommate Jenna advised when I showed her the email. "Nothing good can come from reopening old wounds." She was right, of course. The smart thing would be to ignore it, to protect the peace I'd built. But something about the timing nagged at me. Why now? After 10 years of silence, why reach out for this? I found myself Googling Amanda. Her social media was full of perfect photos. Successful real estate agent, charity event organizer, pillar of Charleston society. She was marrying Bradley Harrison II, heir to a shipping fortune. The society pages were already calling it the wedding of the year. "At least look at her Instagram," my assistant Morgan suggested during our morning meeting. "See what you're dealing with before you decide." I did. And that's when I saw it, buried in the comments of an engagement photo. A familiar name that made my blood run cold. Nathan Porter, offering congratulations and mentioning how excited he was for the big day. Nathan. The man who'd been my everything, who I planned to spend my life with, who I'd caught with my sister the night before my best friend's wedding. The man who had helped destroy not just my relationship, but all my friendships, my reputation, my entire life in Charleston. And my sister had invited him to her wedding. The wedding she wanted me to be part of. My hands shook as I closed the browser. This wasn't just about a wedding invitation. This was something else entirely. Against my better judgment, I replied to Amanda's email. A simple, "We should talk first." Her response came within minutes, an invitation to video chat that evening. She looked the same but different, still perfectly put together, but with an edge of desperation in her eyes that the expensive makeup couldn't quite hide. "Becca," she breathed when my face appeared on screen. "You look amazing." "Cut to the chase, Amanda," I said, keeping my voice steady. "Why now? Why invite me after all this time? And why invite Nathan?" She flinched at his name. "It's complicated. Charleston is a small town, you know that. Everyone who's anyone has to be invited to a wedding like this. Bradley Scamley expects." "Bradley Scamley doesn't know what happened that night," I interrupted. "But you do. You were there. You were part of it." Tears welled in her perfectly made-up eyes. I was young and stupid. We all were. But this is my chance to make things right, to have my sister back, to show everyone that we've moved past all that ugliness. Moved past? I laughed, but there was no humor in it. You destroyed my life. You and Nathan and Charlotte. You all decided to believe his lies, to make me the villain. Do you know what it was like, having everyone in town whisper about poor Nathan and how I'd supposedly been cheating on him? Having my own parents believe him over me? It wasn't like that, she protested weakly. It was exactly like that. You helped him spread those lies. You stood there in that bridal suite, lipstick smeared, and told everyone that I was the one who'd been unfaithful, that Nathan was comforting you after discovering my supposed betrayal. The memory was still razor sharp. Me walking in to check on the bride's champagne, finding my sister and fiancé in a passionate embrace. The shock on their faces quickly replaced by calculation. Nathan spinning his tale of how he'd discovered my infidelity weeks ago. How he'd been heartbroken, how Amanda had been helping him cope. My sister nodding along, tears streaming down her face as she claimed she'd only been trying to help him through his pain. Charlotte, my best friend since childhood, choosing to believe them. The wedding guests whispering, pointing, the story spreading through Charleston social circles like wildfire. My parents' disappointed faces when they asked why I'd thrown away a good man like Nathan. I couldn't stay in Charleston another day after that, I said, watching Amanda's face crumple. I lost everything, my friends, my family, my reputation, my business contacts. I had to start completely over in a new city, and now you want me to come back. To stand beside you at your wedding while Nathan watches from the audience. Please, she whispered. It's different now. I can explain everything. Just come to Charleston, be my maid of honor. Let me make things right. Something in her voice caught my attention, a note of fear, desperation. This wasn't just about reconciliation. There was something else going on. What aren't you telling me, Amanda? She glanced off screen, then back at me. Nothing. I need my sister, and Bradley's family is very traditional. They expect a certain kind of wedding, with family unity and social connections. It would mean everything to have you there. I studied her face, remembering how she used to twirl her hair when lying as a child. Her right hand was at her temple now, fingers twisting a perfectly styled strand. I'll think about it, I said finally. Send me the details. After we disconnected, I sat in my dark apartment for a long time thinking. Then I called Morgan. I need you to do some digging, I said when she answered. Something's not right about this wedding. I want to know everything, about Bradley, about Nathan's involvement, about what's really going on in Charleston. You're not actually considering going, are you? She asked, concern evident in her voice. Oh, I'm going, I replied, a plan already forming in my mind, but not for the reasons my sister thinks. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of preparations. Amanda sent over the maid of honor details, dress requirements, schedule of events, lists of responsibilities. I read everything carefully, noting names, connections, patterns. Morgan's investigation started turning up interesting details. Bradley's family company was in the middle of a merger. Nathan, now a corporate lawyer, was handling the legal work. Amanda's real estate firm had recently listed several Harrison family properties. Everything was connected, but the pattern wasn't clear yet. Then came the piece that made everything click. A small article in a business journal, barely a paragraph long, about irregularities in the Harrison company's recent dealings. An SEC investigation was rumored. I booked my flight to Charleston the next day, not for a wedding, but for answers, and maybe after 10 years, for justice. Charleston hadn't changed much in 10 years. The same graceful antebellum homes lined the streets, Spanish moss still draped the ancient oaks, and the air was still thick with jasmine and secrets. But I had changed, and this time I was ready for the city's particular brand of beautiful deception. The bridal luncheon was scheduled for noon at the Carolina Yacht Club, that bastion of old money and older prejudices. I arrived early, wearing Carolina blue, Amanda's chosen color scheme, and armor made of channel, my chosen protection. Becca, Amanda's voice carried across the clubhouse veranda. She rushed toward me, perfect in her white sundress, arms outstretched for a hug I didn't return. Behind her, I could see familiar faces. Charlotte, now a mother of 3 according to my research, and several other women from our old social circle. The prodigal sister returns, Charlotte said, her voice honey-sweet with venom. We were also surprised when Amanda said you'd agree to be in the wedding. I'm full of surprises, I replied smoothly, watching their faces. Speaking of surprises, I hear Nathan's handling the merger paperwork for Harrison Shipping. Small world. A flash of something, panic, crossed Amanda's face before she could hide it. Oh, that's just business. Bradley's family has worked with Nathan's firm for years. Interesting timing, though, I continued, accepting a mimosa from a passing waiter. The merger, the wedding, the SEC investigation. Charlotte's champagne glass crashed to the floor. Amanda's face went pale. I don't know what you're talking about, she said quickly, too quickly. No. Then let me lay it out. Harrison Shipping is under investigation for financial irregularities. They need this merger to go through before the SEC findings become public. And what better way to ensure family loyalty than a big society wedding? You don't understand, Amanda whispered, grabbing my arm and pulling me away from the group. Bradley's family, they're not what everyone thinks. There are problems, serious problems. The merger is the only way to save the company. And Nathan? What's his role in all this? Her fingers dug into my arm. He has evidence, documents that could stop the merger. He said he'd keep quiet if I helped him get close to you again. The pieces clicked into place. So that's why you suddenly wanted to reconcile. Nathan used my sister to try to get to me again. Some things never change. You don't know what it's been like, Amanda's voice cracked, living with what we did to you. Nathan, he threatened to tell everyone the truth if I didn't help him. That he was the one who'd been unfaithful all along, that I'd helped him cover it up. My reputation, my real estate business. I'd lose everything. Like I lost everything 10 years ago. Tears spilled down her cheeks, smearing expensive mascara. I'm so sorry, Becca. I was young and stupid and scared. Nathan had everyone wrapped around his finger, and I was weak. And now? Are you still weak, Amanda? Before she could answer, a commotion broke out inside the clubhouse. Bradley's mother was arguing loudly with someone on her phone. What do you mean, leaked to the press? Who had access to those documents? I smiled, checking my watch. Right on schedule. You know, I said conversationally to Amanda, Morgan, my assistant, used to work for the SEC. She found those irregularities fascinating, especially the ones hidden in the real estate transactions your firm handled for the Harrisons. Amanda's face went from pale to ashen. What did you do? I didn't do anything. I just made sure the right people had access to the right information. The truth has a way of coming out, doesn't it? The next hour was chaos. Bradley's mother left in tears. Charlotte and the other ladies whispered frantically into their phones. Amanda sat frozen, watching her perfect wedding plans crumble. Then Nathan arrived, bursting onto the veranda with fury in his eyes. You, he pointed at me. Do you know what you've done? I stood slowly, feeling 10 years of pain and anger crystallize into cold determination. Expose the truth? Something you should have done a decade ago. I had everything under control, he snarled. The merger, the evidence, all of it. You've ruined everything. Like you ruined my life? I stepped closer, voice carrying across the suddenly silent veranda. Tell them, Nathan. Tell everyone what really happened that night. Or shall I? He looked around wildly, seeing the faces turn toward him, the phones probably already recording. It was all a lie, I announced clearly. Nathan was cheating on me with multiple women, including my sister. When I caught them, he created an elaborate story to discredit me, to make everyone believe I was the unfaithful one. And you all believed him because it was easier than facing the truth about the golden boy of Charleston society. That's not. Nathan stuttered, but the damage was done. And now he's been helping the Harrisons hide financial irregularities, using my sister's wedding as cover for a fraudulent merger. How am I doing so far, Nathan? The silence was deafening. Charlotte had her hand over her mouth. Amanda was crying quietly. The SEC has everything, I continued. The real estate fraud, the hidden accounts, all of it. Your legal career is probably over, Nathan. Along with this merger, and my sister's perfect society wedding. You bitch, he spat, taking a step toward me. Careful, I smiled. We're being recorded, and I don't think assault charges would help your situation. Security arrived then, called by someone in the stunned crowd. As they escorted Nathan out, I turned to my sister. I'm sorry about your wedding, Amanda, but I'm not sorry about the truth finally coming out. She nodded, tears still falling. I deserve this. We all did. The aftermath was spectacular. The merger collapsed. Nathan's law firm fired him when the SEC investigation became public. Bradley's family lost much of their fortune and social standing. The society wedding of the year was canceled. But something unexpected happened too. Amanda came clean about everything, not just to me, but to the whole community. She detailed Nathan's manipulation, her own weakness, the years of living with guilt. Our parents, finally hearing the full truth, begged my forgiveness. I didn't stay in Charleston. My life was in Seattle now, with real friends and a business built on my own terms. But I did have coffee with Amanda before I left. What will you do now? I asked as she stirred her latte listlessly. Start over, she said. Maybe somewhere new. Somewhere I can be honest about who I am and what I've done. It's not easy, I told her. But it's worth it. She reached across the table, tentatively taking my hand. I know it's too late to ask forgiveness. It is, I agreed. But maybe it's not too late to start being sisters again. Real sisters this time, without the lies. Yesterday, I received a text from Amanda. She's moved to Portland, started her own small real estate company. Building something honest this time, she wrote. Thank you for showing me how. I haven't responded yet. 10 years of pain doesn't disappear overnight, and trust, once broken, is harder to rebuild than any business. But maybe, just maybe, something good can come from all this destruction. Charlotte sent a written apology, along with confirmation that she's filed for divorce after discovering her own husband's infidelities. Karma, it seems, takes notes. The society pages are still buzzing about the scandal, but I don't read them anymore. My story isn't in those glossy magazines or carefully curated social media posts. It's in the quiet triumph of survival and the satisfaction of truth finally revealed, and the knowledge that sometimes the best revenge is simply living well. Morgan framed the SEC investigation article for my office wall. To remind you, she said, that justice might take time, but it's worth waiting for. She's right. 10 years is a long time to hold onto anger, but sometimes that anger keeps you warm while you're planning your comeback. The key is knowing when to let it go, when to transform it into something more powerful than revenge, like truth or maybe even forgiveness. Not that I'm quite ready for forgiveness, but I am ready to write a new story, one where the villain doesn't win, where the truth doesn't stay buried, and where sometimes, just sometimes, the woman who left town in shame gets to return and triumph. After all, some weddings are better canceled, and some sisters are better apart until they're ready to be honest with each other and with themselves. The jasmine still blooms in Charleston, sweet and heavy on the evening air, but its perfume doesn't hide secrets anymore, at least not mine. Those are all out in the open now, where they belonged all along. And me? I'm back in Seattle, designing beautiful spaces for people to live their honest lives in. No more deception, no more perfect facades hiding ugly truths. Just clean lines, clear spaces, and the knowledge that sometimes the most important thing we can design is our own redemption. 10 years is a long time to hold onto anger, but it's never too late for the truth to set everyone free.